All right, Nick, let's talk about the Clemson Tigers. This is a team that's been on a roll for a while now. In the last 5, 10 years, they've always kept their name in the college football playoff hunt. It's been a really top powerhouse program. Now they've built themselves here. Very impressive what Coach Dabo Swinney has done down there in Clemson. But Nick, this is a Clemson team who went to Wake Forest with Hartman as the quarterback down there, who has been extremely impressive. This is a tough Wake Forest team, not your typical Wake Forest team of old, one that you'd normally think that you could blow by. Clemson went out there in a shootout with Hartman and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, and they were able to pull out a win in overtime, big time win for the Tigers. And Tigers fans, we've got to know in the comments below, hard fought game, more of an offensive battle than a defensive battle. But let us know in the comments below, who was your MVP of the game? Who really stood out that game? Is there somebody we're missing here? Who was your MVP of this game? Let us know in the comments below. But Nick, let's dive into the Tigers.
Yeah, so Clemson's one of those teams. Obviously, last year was a little bit of a step back by their standards, but they're one of the blue buds the last decade or so in college football. But the thing we kind of forgot about Clemson, right, is they were a quarterback factory for a while there. You go from Taj Boyd to Watson, obviously Trevor Lawrence, but this new guy, DJ Uiagalelei, and I promise it's the last time I'm going to try and pronounce his last name. He's an absolute beast. He's kind of fallen under the radar when you guys got guys like Bryce Young in Alabama, C.J. Stroud up at Ohio State. This guy at Clemson is a legitimate, like, top tier quarterback and quarterback prospect for the next level as well. He is so big and so strong and so powerful. He almost looks like Josh Allen for the Buffalo Bills out there. There was a play in this Wake Forest game that just blew my mind. It was a 2-point conversion play. He is wrapped up. He is tackled. He is literally twisted up and falling, and he throws a dart in the back of the end zone to convert a massive 2-point conversion play. Those are the kind of plays that nobody else in college football can even dream of making. And it's not just those physical athletic plays. He's also extremely productive too. Just a high level look at his stats this season: over 1,000 yards, 10 scores, only 1 pick, completing 64% of his throws. And this is an aggressive down the field passing game. So that's a pretty good completion percentage for that. So when I look at this guy at the quarterback position, this is a top tier, guy that at that level, which you need to have to be a contender. And that's kind of why Clemson, I think, has fallen under the radar. We've fallen in love with, whether it's Caleb Williams in USC, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young. But this guy down in Clemson is an elite level quarterback. And when you have that kind of guy, you can be a top tier contender. And that's exactly why Clemson is really high in the rankings again, and why they're a real threat to make the college football playoff this season.
Yeah, Nick. And when you got guys like DJ, this is a guy who I feel like by the end of the season will squarely cement his name into the Heisman race. This is a guy that'll win you the big games. And a win like this over Wake Forest is so important because Clemson, being in the ACC, let's face it, their biggest struggle is for resume pedigree going throughout the season. Not as many quality opponents that they're going to face. But this year, they have a couple opponents, and I want to go through that really fast. Your next week is probably your biggest game of the season against number 10 ranked NC State. This is a very, very tough NC State team, a team that's been playing out of their mind lately. Nobody really expect this. So that's going to be a big one. And if you can win that one, you're probably going to coast through the rest of the season. You obviously got Boston College. Florida State might be a little bit tough. Syracuse been okay so far. They can surprise you from time to time. Notre Dame, I think they're declining rather on incline, so I think you're going to beat them squarely. Louisville can prove to be, a shootout sometimes. You got Miami. Nobody really knows what to think about them after a loss to Middle Tennessee. And then South Carolina, I really wouldn't be too worried about them so far this season. So a very interesting schedule, and it really, this next weekend, this is your biggest game of the season before you make it into the playoffs. So you can win this game against NC State, finish out the rest of your schedule, and I think it's going to be strong enough. You're going to go against 3 top 25 opponents potentially, get 3 big wins like that, and hopefully put your name in the college football playoff pretty easily there, don't you think?
Yeah, don't forget, NC State actually beat Clemson last year in what was a terrible game for DJ, 12 for 26, throwing also a pick. Didn't get it done when he needed to. They lost in overtime to NC State. So I love the fact this is a revenge game for Clemson. And I love revenge games in college football. You got a guy like Dabo Swinney really elevating his crew, getting his guys out there ready to play. And I think they will be, because if they clear this hurdle, like you said, it is a straight shot to the ACC championship game and the college football playoff from there. This team, if they can get past NC State, which I think they will, I'm looking to have a really strong game on offense led by the quarterback. I think it's a clear path to the college football playoff. Clemson will take advantage of it.